Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to Park City Credit Union's second annual Northwoods Financial Summit. Thank you for taking the time to attend this virtual session. My name is Sarah Sturm. I'm a member of our marketing team, and I'm excited to be your moderator for this session. Before our presenters, Julia and Andrea, begin, I have a few housekeeping items to share with you. During the presentation, we will have all participants in a listen-only mode to help reduce any feedback. However, this session will be more of an open discussion session with Q&A, so at any point you can unmute yourself to ask your questions. We just ask that you can utilize the raise hand feature, which we will go over shortly, to show that you are ready to turn on your audio and talk. You can also leave your questions in the chat at any point during the discussion, and we will address them when the opportunity presents itself. If we are unable to address all the questions during the session, we will personally reach out to you with an answer. So as you'll see on our screen, those unfamiliar with WebEx, we have provided a key on the screen for references with a few helpful features. You can mute and unmute yourself by clicking on the microphone icon. Clicking on the chat bubble will bring up the chat box where you can leave your questions and comments for our presenters. And then click on the person icon, and that will bring up the participant panel. There you can click on the raise hand icon to signal that you'd like to speak and unmute yourself. And as a reminder, this session is being recorded. We will send the link to all registered attendees next week when all sessions are completed. Included in that email, we will have a link to a survey for your feedback on the Financial Summit. And as a thank you for filling out the survey, you will be entered to win a prize. I will now introduce our speakers. Julia Busterud joined Park City Credit Union in August of 1999 as a teller and a loan clerk. Now she's a mortgage specialist, and Julia specializes in real estate mortgages and is also a backup consumer lender. Andrea Krueger is celebrating her 31st year in real estate sales. She owns 2 offices, one in Merrill and one in Tomahawk. She loves helping folks move to the next stage of life, either buying their first home, downsizing, or a piece of land to build their dream home. Alrighty. So I will start with the question and answer session now. We'll go into gallery mode so that way we can see each other. Helps, I feel like, get the vibe of the question and answers flowing. So I will give it a couple seconds to see if anyone has any questions, but if no one does have any questions right away, we do have a prepared list of questions we've received ahead of time to get the discussion going. But first, Julia or Andrea, would you like to chime in with anything to say a few words for our attendees at all?
Okay. Welcome, everyone.
All right. Have any chats coming through? I'm not seeing any right off the bat. But if we have any, I will certainly be trying to keep a close eye on that too, so we can make sure we get all of the questions answered. So I will just start off right off the bat then. Andrea, what does the housing inventory look like these days?
Oh, definitely a shortage. Not much to choose from if you're shopping.
Yeah. Do we see that changing anytime soon?
Well, I hope so, but it's been a stretch going with a bigger shortage for the last year and a half. So praying for more to come on the market, but I just not predicting it very soon.
Okay. Do you think, is that COVID affected, or is it just a normal thing that we see right now? People are wanting to buy, and aren't necessarily wanting to sell? Or what would you say the reasoning, I guess, is?
Probably attending a trend in the age group. Not many of those folks that are ready to move into an apartment or assisted living or any of those. We don't have a lot of that stretch of older folks moving out of their homes. And we do have a stretch of young buyers that are healthy and financially healthy and able to buy. Interest rate is awesome, so it just puts buyers in a good position to buy, which makes a shortage.
Gotcha. So I'll start then. I'll go over to Julia. Julia, how would you say that COVID has affected the mortgage industry?
I would say things have definitely skyrocketed as far as the mortgage volume. We're seeing it's got to be historic levels of the number of applications and demand and such that we're receiving is at quite a high level. So it's having an impact on the industry in such a way, like Andrea mentioned, that the rates are very favorable right now. So there's a wide variety purchases and refinances and everything going on. So it puts a little bit of a crunch on turn times with appraisals and trying to find an appraiser that's able. But we do our best and just try to, any way possible to get it done.
Yeah. Andrea, do you have anything to add about how COVID has affected the housing industry at all?
I think because of the lack of travel, COVID has determined that we can't travel. We can't go on trips. We're not spending money socializing like we have in the past. People are saving their money, their tax returns, their check that they have gotten, and just putting towards their homes and putting more family time, which means they want a nicer house or a bigger house they're able to buy now. We're very fortunate in our communities that the job supply is very high. So that's a good thing.
Yeah, that is good to hear. So we'll switch gears a little bit. We can always, come back to this if we think of something else to add to those questions. But Julia, so what if I apply today for a new house, when do you think I could be in my new house? Like, with everything going on, what's a good time frame to expect?
So if you are pre-qualified and you get your accepted offer to purchase, time frame, the thing that takes the longest is the appraisal report. So on average, those are out about 45 days right now. So it's putting closing to 6 to 8 weeks in that time frame, I would say, realistically. And you can, try to have it rushed, but, everyone is extremely busy, so just doing our best. And
I'm sure everyone who's looking to buy a house is excited to get in their house, so.
Oh, yeah, definitely, and we want to get them in their house,
Right, so, yeah. And then, Julia, what would the first step be if I've never bought a home before? Where do I get started? How should do I go get pre-qualified first, or do I go look for my house first?
Yes, I would definitely recommend pre-qualification. Just give us a call or, send an email for inquiry, and we can answer any questions and give some guidance and direction as far as let you know what programs are available. And once you're pre-qualified, at that point, I would recommend shopping around. That way you can show your realtor too that you're pre-qualified and they know that you've done your homework and they're ready to go forward.
So as a new home buyer, what kind of paperwork or what do you as the mortgage specialist need to know from me coming in to get me started in this process? What kind of things, what kind of documents, what do I need to know,
Sure.
I guess, coming in to talk to you?
So the application consists mostly of your personal data, employment information, and income, assets, and liabilities. We would just, pull from the credit report. It's going to ask a bunch of yes or no questions and such, but we're basically just going to need to get verification of income for the last 2 years. So if there's wages, we can get by with W-2s from 2018 and 19 usually, and then just a couple recent pay stubs. Some of the programs, I know USDA now started asking for the whole income tax return for the last 2 years, which if there is any kind of self-employment income or anything other than, wages, we would need that anyways. So that's most critical, but then also other supporting documentation would include bank statements. If the down payment funds are on deposit at the credit union, then I can take care of all of that on our end. If they're elsewhere, we would have copies of the last 2 months of bank statements to provide verification.
Okay. And Andrea, we'll get to you again, but focusing on the mortgages right now, I guess, how much do I need for that down payment then for the house?
Great question. So we do have programs available in the secondary market. We're partnered with QRL Financial Services, and so through them we're able to offer USDA and VA would be the two programs that are 100% financing, all the way up to 100% of the purchase price or the appraised value, the lesser thereof. There are closing costs, which you can try to negotiate in, but they would want to see probably some reserves still, even if there is no down payment in those couple of programs, just to show, okay, if my principal, interest, taxes, and insurance payment is $800 a month, they might want to see a couple grand, just of reserves, if you will, in a savings then. FHA would be 3.5% down payment, and then conventional starts at 3% down. And then for our in-house program, it's a 20% down payment requirement, and that stays local here at the credit union. We service the loan always.
Okay. You mentioned closing costs. What is the average cost for closing costs, or how can you kind of figure that out?
So in-house, it's right around $700 to $1,200 to give you a range. On a purchase transaction, it's going to trigger an appraisal requirement, so it's probably closer to $1,200, I would say, in that scenario. The secondary market is right around $2,000 to $2,200 for any of the government-backed programs like we were discussing as far as FHA and VA and such. And in that case, there's also what's called prepaid items, which would be like the homeowner's insurance premium and real estate tax portion that we're going to try to collect to go into the escrow account right away as soon as that's established at closing then. So those can amount to a couple thousand as well, depending on how much the premium is on the homeowners and how much the real estate taxes are on the property. So it can vary a little bit.
Okay. Are there any other fees or costs to be aware of?
No, the only thing that we would collect for up front traditionally is the appraisal. We collect a deposit, typically of $500, and right around that area. Could be a little bit more, usually no higher than $700.
Okay. So jumping a little bit gears, I recently went through a home purchase, worked with Julia. Andrea was actually our seller's agent. And so I've gotten some, firsthand experience with that. And so one thing I want to ask is, what other companies, I guess, are involved that it's important to know ahead of time? And then are we expected to know, who else we need to get involved? Or will you guys help us coordinate those, like appraisals or home inspection or an insurance agent, those types of things? I don't know if Andrea, you want to take that one quick, or if Julia wants to chime in if I forgot, if she wants to add something too?
To do it, Julia?
Go ahead.
Okay, so the most important part, as Julia said, is get that pre-approval process done even before you shop, because you want to know what you can afford. Then when we go shopping, we're going to discuss that home inspection. We'll write your offer contingent upon a home inspection. Is it mandatory to do a home inspection? No, but to protect yourself, you should. That home inspector will go from top to bottom, tell you all about your home. Then, of course, their insurance, which Julia will say, get that lined up ahead of time so you know what your insurance cost is going to be. Julia also orders the appraisal. The realtor will order the title insurance. The title company is the one that brings the title insurance to the table. The seller provides that title insurance. The bank will require an owner's policy, which then protects the bank. And then the title company is the one that does the closing along with the bank. So home inspector, title company, insurance agent, but between Julia and myself, we'll direct you in those right places, and we don't get to pick the appraiser, but we do get to provide you with names for the home inspector. So you can pick one of our home inspectors or one of your very own.
Okay. That's good to know. I know with insurance, Julia, you had mentioned to me earlier, things can come up with insurance. What are some things to kind of be prepared for that you might not have expected? So it's not quite a shock.
On insurance, or maybe were we talking about appraisals?
Either one. I was thinking, like, you know, flood insurance, for instance. Is that something that's pretty common that you see a lot of?
Point,
or?
Thank you. Not real common, but every so often a property does come back in a flood zone. Most of the time in the purchase, the seller is aware if the property is, and in my experience, they've been, you know, very good about disclosing that when, you know, when the offer is going on, so that the buyer is aware and agrees, you know, because that premium can be quite expensive. But if property is in a flood zone, it does trigger a flood insurance requirement. Yeah.
Can I add to that? Flood insurance?
Yeah, of course.
The flood zone maps have changed over the years. You know, in the long time that Julie and I have been doing this, we have found in Merrill that when the title company does that flood search, we have found some properties that lie in the floodplain via that map. There's a couple of stretches, though, even though the title company, the flood map says it's in the floodplain, I'm sorry, stuttering there, they're really not. And so there's some properties along Mill Street, along 4th Street, Logan, along in there, that a surveyor can be called to determine if it truly is in the floodplain. So if this comes up unexpectedly, make sure your realtor knows, is this an area that I've sold before that really is not in the floodplain, and can we get a surveyor in to prove that it's not?
Thank you. That's
very often.
Great point. I've had it in the cases too where the people weren't expecting it, and property was 30 feet above the water. So I've had some, you know, very good luck in the last month and a half with getting 2 or 3 determinations overturned then, sent for manual research, and yes, so then the flood insurance was not required. So that was very good.
Yeah, because flood insurance could be $1,000 in addition to your regular insurance.
Yes.
Right?
Correct.
Wow, that's interesting. Andrea, something else I thought of, you know, obviously you don't just represent the buyers when it comes to that. You also represent sellers. Do you have any good tips as a seller point of view right now if you're looking to maybe put your house on the market? I mean, obviously now will probably be a great time to do that considering the inventory is so low. Are there some tips, though, that they should consider before putting their house on the market? Or
definitely a good time to put properties on the market. Our prices in Merrill have risen 25 to 30%.
Wow.
Tomahawk, maybe not quite that much, but they have risen. Lake properties, there's nothing available. So, you know, Merrill market, there's maybe 15 active city homes, so definitely a good time. So you can have us over. We'll help you determine what you should do before you're putting your home on the market. And that's no cost. We just visit with you saying, this is what the market's doing, this is what I think I can get for your property, what today's value is, and maybe you should do this, this, and that. What could be painting or a fresh floor somewhere or change out a sink. Something so simple that catches people's eye right away. And it's so simple for us to just make you a little list that maybe costs you $500, but will realize you $5,000 in the long run.
Okay.
So that service is free. Just give us a call. We set an appointment. It takes about a half hour, 45 minutes, and it just gets you ready for the market. Or you say, oh, no, I don't want to sell, and there's no obligation.
Okay. Another random question I thought of as well, you know, is it common to ask that seller to provide a home warranty? Are you seeing that quite often, or is it not something that's really even needed now because it's such a seller's market that, you know, you don't recommend necessarily asking to have a seller provide that home warranty?
In today's market, when you're competing against multiple offers, you want your offer to be as clean as possible. And then let's say you have your home inspection done, and there's some things that are questionable, maybe then's the time to ask for a home warranty instead of replace the water heater or the furnace because it's older. Then maybe just say, will you provide a home warranty, which we can get them anywhere from $400 to $600, and then the seller will maybe do that. A lot of buyers pay for home warranties themselves. That just protects them the first year. $400 to $600. If your stove goes out, your refrigerator goes out, your furnace goes out, your water heater goes out, it's a $75 deductible, and it gets replaced. So buyers pay for home warranties also. Markets before, sellers always paid, but it's a good little protection.
Yes, I can speak from experience that it was nice to have. Our refrigerator went out, and it was like, yes, you know, kind of, we got that stainless steel refrigerator that we wanted then, and it was just a really nice cushion to have, you know, just a nice feeling to have that there, so we knew we wouldn't have to pay for a brand new appliance. So I could definitely testify that those are helpful to have if you can get one. So before I ask you some more, you know, ending kind of questions, do you guys have anything that, you know, through our discussion that triggered some thought that you wanted to add into the conversation?
No, not that I can think of.
All right.
The only thing I'd like to add is once we do go shopping, I'm going to put you on an automated search engine that when I receive a multiple listing service listing from any realtor, no matter who it's listed with, it'll automatically come to you also as a buyer. So once you get that, we have to look right away. That's the way the market is right now. Shoot me a text. I want to see the house on blah, blah, blah street. That's how fast the market is moving right now. So kind of you snooze, you lose, which is a terrible thing. But if you want a home and you want something that's nice, everybody else does too, which is kind of sad for buyers. But I'm here to work with you whenever you want to look at a home.
Okay. I did have a chat come through that I will address to you, Andrea. If you know that there's going to be multiple offers on a home, is there something that you can do as a buyer to increase your chances of getting the home besides just paying the above offer?
It's just hard to predict exactly what you should do because we never will know what the other offers are. Make your offer the cleanest. Make sure you have that pre-approval. Increase your earnest money a little bit. You know, don't ask for the moon, you know, home warranty, just closing costs. If you can save those up yourself and just make your offer the cleanest.
Anything you'd like to add to that, Julia?
No, I think that Andrea hit it right on the head. That's great.
One thing, and this might be silly, but you see in the movies, people will write, you know, or TV shows, people will write a letter to go along with their offer that kind of gives the background of who they are as a buyer, as a, you know, a family, whatever. Is that something that they do in real life, or do you just see that in the movies?
Very often I ask a buyer to do that because it's so fast-paced. A lot of times it's getting where more people are doing that. But it is a business transaction. Plus, there's a majority of the people that still want to know it's a family that will fit their home. If they've been in their home for 10, 15, 20 years, they want to know that the new family coming in will fit well. So that's a great idea, and we do that often. Mm-hmm.
Awesome. That's like, I just wondered if there was ever any real cause to that. So that's a really nice point to point out. Another question came through. I think it would be kind of more for you, Andrea, but maybe Julia has something to point out to that too. Is there anything to look out for with fixer-uppers in our area, like asbestos or foundation issues? Like what kind of things is there it's good to look out for a fixer-upper maybe?
We don't have a lot of asbestos in our area. I don't run into that very often, but that home inspector will go through all of those things, just to know that when you're offering on a fixer-upper that you have in your mind how much it's going to cost for that repair value, and then we can let you know what the value will be at the end.
Okay.
You don't want to spend more than it's ever going to be worth.
Okay. So you'll talk through that scenario of, maybe, okay, that's good to know.
The basics, well, even, when you have your home inspector in, if you see a bow in a wall or something, you can automatically have a basement cement guy come in. You can have an electrician come in if that's a major concern. So we can work that all in your inspections so that you know the end dollars. Because if you buy a house for $50 and you have to stick $150 in it and it's only going to be worth $100, that just doesn't make sense, right?
Okay.
So we can have any inspector you would like.
Okay. Good to know. All right.
Yeah, I think that is good, taking the proactive approach there too, because on the financing end of it, especially in the government-backed programs there, they are particular, like there has to be railings on the stairways, and, if there is an issue with the foundation, like you say, they might require that, be cured or fixed. So no peeling paint, such.
When you say that, Julia, I guess it's important for buyers to know when Julia pre-qualifies you for a USDA loan or an FHA loan with very little money down, we're not going to get you a fixer-upper. I'm sorry, because those loans don't pass them, right, Julia? They have to be, they can't need tons of work.
Right, they are particular. If I've had a couple of issues where property was listed as a 4-bedroom, and it turns out the county zoning has only approved the septic system for a 3-bedroom and such. So we still, overcame obstacles and got to closing and saw it through. But there was times where buyers and sellers had to work together to cure things, where it might be turning one of those bedrooms into an office and taking door jamb off, and so then the appraiser has to go back out and do the final inspection.
Okay.
So it might just delay things a little bit if there's something turns out like that.
But be proactive, and obviously Andrea or your real estate agent, wherever you are going to work with you to make sure that you have the resources or know what to look for, know what you need. So really that's why you work with a mortgage specialist and a real estate agent, is because they're going to be the experts for you. They're going to help you through the process, and you don't have to, be the one that knows everything going into the whole scheme of things. So you mentioned an obstacle. Andrea, can you share an experience that you've had where you've overcame an obstacle maybe with a buyer or a seller, or both?
We see that, the simple things like chipping and peeling paint, or those on a USDA or FHA loans, those things we always can get through. It's the different things like if it needs a roof or windows, those we can't get through in those. But every day we have some kind of obstacle. Today, those are the things that needed for an FHA loan, chipping and peeling paint or chimneys. But we just find you the right professional to take care of it. Or sometimes buyers do those little repairs themselves. It's not always the seller's duty. If it's to pass your loan, we get through it, and I can help you find people that'll help you get through it. Always have something in that back pocket.
That's great. It's great that we have such a close-knit community that we do have those resources. And so if you are just moving to the community and you don't know anyone, it's great that you guys have people, for those those buyers or sellers. So, Julia, do you have any other stories about an overcome obstacle or?
Well, it really doesn't take too much to throw a monkey wrench into a real estate transaction. I mean, there's all sorts of variety of things that can pop up, but we do manage to get through and overcome and get it done as best as we can, you know, as ideally on time, but especially since the whole COVID thing hit, it just, you know, seems like there's delays at times, but we do our best.
Yeah. Another question just came through. Do you guys, I guess both of you can take a turn, Julia first, do you guys buy or sell, or I guess it would be more of an Andrea question, do you buy or sell tiny homes? Is that a thing around here? You see the TV shows?
We do not. We do not see many. I do have someone that bought a home in Tomahawk very recently that says they're working on building one that they have for sale. It sounded like it was going to be like $8,500 or something, so I could get that information if somebody is looking for a tiny home. I have not personally seen it yet, but they said they're working on building one.
Cool. Yeah, that's an interesting trend that's going on. I don't know. I have too much stuff. I don't think I could, you know, live in a tiny home, but props to people that can. What's that?
Your home is quite large, so you can fit a couple tiny homes in it, right?
Yes, exactly. We love our home. So, well, anything else that anyone has to add before I wrap up our session here today? I'm going to share a screen again for everyone, just so we, there we go. So I have up on the screen here, we have Julia and Andrea's contact information. Should any of you have any specific questions that you think of afterwards and you want to shoot them an email or give them a call, feel free to reach out. You could also set up a one-on-one with Julia or Andrea, like she said with Andrea. You know, if you are looking to sell or buy, that consultation is free, getting to know each other and just kind of talk it through. Julia, same with her. I know you can just, you know, call in, get an appointment with Julia to talk through what you all need and get that process flowing. So here's the contact information for Julia and Andrea. But otherwise, on behalf of the planning team and presenters, I want to thank you for being part of the second annual Northwoods Financial Summit. As a reminder, we will send out the recordings of the sessions next week, as well as a survey for feedback. If you've gained some new information today, feel free to register for any of the upcoming sessions. We will leave the registration page open for anyone who wishes to still attend a live session this week. And again, thank you all for a great day. Anything you want to add, Andrea or Julia?
I noticed my contact information there is my Tomahawk office, but my home base is Merrill, and we do have an office there on 1316 East Main Street in Merrill too, and still live in Merrill. But I am in Tomahawk every day, so both locations, Merrill, Tomahawk, all of central Wisconsin. We'd love to help you.
I was going to say, because we might have some viewers here too from our Minocqua and Rhinelander area as well. Do you help service those areas as well?
Yes, I do. I have 4 agents that work with me, and 3.5. One is not licensed yet. So we're here, and we cover from Wausau to Minocqua to Rhinelander, and all the general area.
Wonderful. And Julia, I know you have some great cohorts up in the Tomahawk, Rhinelander, Minocqua area. So if there's anyone out there that's looking, we have some great resources here with Center 21 and Park City Credit Union. So again, thank you all for attending, and we wish you the greatest of days.
Bye-bye.
Bye, everyone.